Hello and welcome to another video. This one's going to be a little bit kind of a randomer, randomer if that's a word, one. Basically just going over some thrift store slash bargain store, because some of this was bargain store, like an Ollie sort of thing, and some of it was thrift stores, a big variety of thrift stores in fact. It originally wasn't going to be this video at all. I wanted to do a review about a system called the Digi. As you can see here, Digi or DJ, and you can even the reflection on this thing is insane. As you can see, it goes on forever there. You can even see some of the other things I was going to talk about. So I get this, and I wasn't even going to play it first because it's just an educational system. It's nothing over the top, but it's like the closest educational system to a non-educational system that makes any sense from what I've read. And honestly, I didn't even have the system at first. I first at same thrift store actually found a Digi game, and this is why I say it's closer to a regular system. It has Sonic the Hedgehog, and from the screenshots, let's see which side is best. If you can see him, it looks like Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, it's hardly in focus, but you can see it was only $3. I forgot to take that off, but it looks like regular Sonic the Hedgehog. And I was rather intrigued by that, because I have a lot of educational systems. In fact, if I can get this thing to work, I'll probably cover all of them. Just looking up where I have them, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this will be the 6th one. Technically, if you don't count like the Leapfrog books, which have tons of cartridges. I like cartridges. That's probably why I buy these. But as you probably can tell, this thing's not in one piece anymore. That's because it didn't work. I let the thing charge overnight. The charger pack, which happened to work just fine with a different educational system. Apparently they all use the same charger. This is the charger pack that goes on the back. This is a light. When it stops blinking, it's done. Makes sense. I actually let this charge for probably more like 2 days. Wouldn't start. It has a power in on the bottom. I tried it directly plugged in, still wouldn't start. So I open it up and I realize, I don't know how this is going to focus, that capacitor exploded in there. You can see all of this yellowness right here, right above the orange bits. You can see how it's like bridging a gap between this bit and the green. It leaked out all over. Hopefully that's fixable. You can get capacitors fairly cheap. You know, they're you usually have to buy them in bulk, but once you do, you get like 20 of them for $5, or sometimes you can find them even cheaper. If Radio Shack still exists, I'd just go to Radio Shack. But the Digi seemed like a really cool system, and just to make things worse, as I was trying to put all the screws in a bag so I don't lose them, I lost one. And in its place was a sesame seed. That's still on the desk. It fell down now. But the screw was gone. So, unless there's some sort of new creature running around replacing screws for sesame seeds, I don't know where that even came from. But it happened. So, one day, it just goes on my list of things to fix. I gotta fix that. I gotta fix part of the Zavix port system. Gotta fix one of my Dreamcasts, my Commodore VIC-20. There's so many. And actually, the original Xbox, I have to rip one of these out of there because this actually will happen in an original Xbox if you don't take the clock capacitor out. So, I haven't yet, but with the amount of things I have to fix around here, it just hasn't been on my list of things to do. So, all the Digi stuff came from Goodwill. I guess we can do this based off of the store. I'm going to skip from games to something not game-related, just because the games I'm going to show, I want to talk about them as a group for a specific reason. You'll see. So, the other thing I got, and this is something I feel like I've talked about this. Don't think I've made a video on it. If I did, you'll see it again anyway. It's called the Walkometer. This is a, what do they call it, a pedometer? Something like the thing that counts your steps as you walk. But I believe this was from 1969, if you can see. It won't focus on it, but right here it says copyright 1969. This one is incredibly different than how we have them now. And I'm sure it has to do with the difference in technology. This is what it looks like on the front. You have these dials, and what you have to do is you actually have to figure out the length of your step first. And there's 4 dials here, depending on how long your step is. And in the instruction booklet, it actually explains that what you have to do is you have to measure a mile. They say use a car. Measure a mile, and then set this to 0 and walk that exact mile and see which one is the closest. And then you just go off of that as that's how long you've walked. So there's no exact science to it. It's very, this one's close enough. Use that one. So, but in the 1960s, there probably was better options. I wouldn't know what it is. It's not something I normally go around buying, but I just thought it was so interesting. It's just like the packaging, it's in pretty good shape for its age. So yeah, it's the same on most of the sides. Walkometer. Yeah, I thought about doing a test on this. I may do it one day, but it seems like a lot of work. Even though my neighborhood, to get from where I live to the front of the neighborhood, is 0.98 miles. So if I can try that, then I can get an idea which number is mine, and we can see how accurate it is that way. But moving on from that, the other Goodwill item, going back to games, this, I don't have this system yet, but I thought the packaging was so interesting, and I kind of remember these being out originally, but I kind of don't. This is for the Hyperscan system. This has the game and the disc and all that in it. This is just extra cards. I guess you scan them into the game. It's not really something, it wasn't popular enough for me to really remember too much. You can see, I'm going to try to show it to you as best I can, even though it won't focus, the game graphics on here. It kind of looks like if you took a Sega Genesis game and you added more color, if that makes any sense. Let's see if you can possibly see this one a little bit better. Yeah, right here. you can kind of see it. It's not a day for this thing to focus, apparently. But one of my big things is I just love the packaging on this. I mean, it's got like this special ribbed cardboard here, reflective red. I see a lot of blues, gold, silvers, greens. But they're like, this is rather interesting, a reflective red. And I guess this system was a lot of fighting games for the most part. But one day, if I find a Hyperscan, they had everything. They had an extra controller, and they had so many of these card packs. I guess you're supposed to collect the cards. I'm not that interested. I just want to try it someday. But changing from Goodwill over to what we have called the Treasure Marts. It's like almost like an indoor flea market, but nobody's home, really. You kind of go in and you find what you want, you take it to the front, and then they deal out the money afterwards. Once again, with interesting boxes, this is MTV's remote controlled, the video game for the IBM Tandy and Compatible. So this was for like PC DOS back in the day. I believe, 1989, this is the trademark on this. It's marked for $1, but the stand was 50% off, so I got this for 50 cents. Let me open it up for you. It's a nice little cardboard packaging. I wish they kind of still made games that look like this. You have the quick start guide to help you get into the game. Apparently, it's also Apple and Commodore compatible, according to this card. It teaches you how to get in it on an Apple II and a Commodore. I might have to throw this into my Commodore 64 and see what happens. Although I have a feeling it's not going to work because the box doesn't say Commodore. Just this more than likely generic rules sheet. We do have the high-tech registration card. Yeah, a bunch of nonsense here. I always thought about if you could photocopy these and send them off. Oh, it even gives their address. They're on Broadway. Oh, so fancy. And then here's the floppy disk on Was it 5¼ inch? It's got a little notch. I know that was a thing back in the day. But yeah, it does say IBM and Tandy 100% compatibles. And what does it say under that? Oh, it tells you how to get in it, what key command to type in. It's rather interesting. It's in good shape. Yeah, there's a good chance that it won't work. Just based off of the fact that it's probably been demagnetized somewhere along the way. I forgot to put it in the sleeve. Gotta make sure it's nice and protected, even though it probably doesn't work. And at the moment, I don't have a drive to support this. I have a few games that use the larger floppies, and I don't have the drive in my PC. I only have the smaller 3.5-inch. But I'll find one eventually. A lot of this stuff is, as I find them, then I, like the Hyperscan. Once I find one, then I'll try the games, like the Digi. Once the Digi comes through a thrift store, which it did, it didn't work, but, it came through, then I'll try it. So, yeah, I don't, even if I don't own the system yet, I try to get the deals while they exist. The next thing, this was from Ollie's, so this is the bargain store side of things. They had some, Mario Kart, what do they call it? This Mega Bloks? It's kind of like Lego, but it's larger. It's probably written on here somewhere. Oh, Connects. Yeah, the Connects blocks. They only had 2 characters in. They had Wario and they had Shy Guy, strangely enough. And you do have to put this together 100%, even the stickers. But it was fun. The wheels are interchangeable. You can either have the one for when they're hovering, like this one, which have little tiny rollers on the bottom, so they can still sit. Or you can have the regular wheels. They really are built the same. It's just color-coded differently, because it's the same model. Of course, you end up with a different character. And then the weirdness of it, you only get half of the character. I kind of understand they're just going to be stuck on this peg here. But I mean, in the same breath, you can take half of one character and stick it onto the other character. And I'm trying to remember, see, their heads come off. So I can have, it's just driven by his head. Or they actually kind of fit into the steering wheel column. So it's one of those, I feel like it was made in a way that they can mass produce it as fast as they can. Just change a couple colors here and there. But apparently that comes off. I've never had that come off before. Well, there's another thing I broke. But, yeah, his hands don't even touch the steering wheel. So, yeah, nice attempt. It's a good shelf piece. But other than that, they're alright. They're not strong enough where I would say you'd want to play with them around if you're, give it to a kid and have him play with it. The bits fall right off. They're not as strong as Lego. But, yeah, that was the more interesting thing. I'm surprised this video ran as long as it did, because I thought I should have looked for more things. But most everything else that I got was just random games and movies. Nothing as interesting as this lot. That wasn't the only old PC game. There was another one up there. It was a Windows 3.1 game, but it's just solitaire and stuff like that. But it was, once again, it was 50 cents. So it's interesting. It's complete in the box. But yeah, that's it for this one. Every time I find something more interesting, I think I'm going to do more videos. Maybe with the hauls that I bring back, because you end up with a bag load for maybe $10 at the most at a lot of these places, with especially the Treasure Mart, with them usually putting the booths on sale. Yeah, I've never paid sticker price for anything that I've ever found in these places, so it's nice. But until next time, have a good one.